afternoon. I'm Ashton Hasty with Cape Fear Newspapers, and you're watching Community News Today. We bring you the latest community news from Pender, Duplin, and Onslow counties. Today is Friday, June 10th, 2011. Thanks for tuning in. The Optimist Club members were ecstatic over the fundraising results of this weekend's second annual fundraiser golf tournament. Thanks to an increase in the number of four-man teams playing in the golf tournament, the Optimists were able to raise about $5,000 for the Civics Club's causes. Club member Eddie Boyette said he wanted to thank the 76 players and the many volunteers for making this tournament a success this year. All proceeds from the tournament go to the Boys and Girls Home of Lake Waccamaw and the Optimist International Foundation Scholarship Program. The scholarship plan is to put together an oratorical competition involving all Duplin 2011-2012 school year. The local competition would take place in February 2012. The tournament was held at the Rockfish County Club near Wallace. There were 2 flights, with the awards going to the first and second place teams in each flight. After finishing the tournament, golfers enjoyed chicken dinners at the country club. At the conclusion of the meal, winners of the tournament were announced by Boyette. The Duplin Optimist Club is barely a year old. The club formed back in April 2010. Boyette said the Optimists are actively looking for new members. The Duplin Optimist Club meets the second and fourth Monday at 7 p.m. at the Rockfish Country Club. Optimist International is an association of more than 2,900 Optimist clubs around the world dedicated to bringing out the best in kids. Adult volunteers join Optimist clubs to conduct positive service projects in their communities that provide a helping hand to youth. The Duplin County Commissioners backtracked Monday evening and voted to restore $386,000 in funding to the emergency medical services, so all 8 stations remain open. Latson considered the vote sentimental and wondered how the county would pay upfront costs if hit by a hurricane this summer or fall. Technically, the county commissioners voted to restore 7 1/2 stations. The Kenansville station is closed at night. Williams wanted to see the Kenansville station restored to full 24-hour service, but couldn't get the other commissioners to go along with her. The vote came after a budget public hearing in the Lois G. Britt Agriculture Center's Emory Auditorium on Monday night, where commissioners heard person after person criticize them for the proposed cutback to EMS. Among those who spoke was State Representative Jimmy Dixon of Warsaw, who said commissioners shouldn't use the EMS as an excuse for raising taxes. The most powerful speaker, though, was Clayton Bryant, who brought along young Boxana Loba of Rose Hill, who suffers from severe asthma. On several occasions, the Rose Hill EMS squad has to respond to one of Boxana's asthma attacks. If the Rose Hill station closed, Bryant voiced fears that by the time the Warsaw ambulance got to her, it might be too late. That was the crux of the problem for the speakers. The EMS cutbacks put lives in danger, they said. According to EMS Director Rob McDuffie, going from 8 ambulances to 6 ambulances and 2 QVRs would potentially leave 50% of the county's population outside the optimum 15-minute response time. Had the county commission not voted to keep all 8 EMS stations open, Duplin County would have lost Rose Hill and Kenansville. The vote apparently restores 12 full-time positions. Now the county commissioners will have to figure out how to pay for the fully restored EMS. Duplin County funded EMS at $4,284,927 in fiscal year 2010-2011. They were contemplating funding it at $3,898,640 for fiscal year 2011-2012 before voting Monday to reinstate the 2 stations scheduled for closing. The discussions begin Monday, June 13th at 9 a.m. in the Commissioner's Room in the Duplin County Administrative Building. They'll no doubt be centered on dipping into the fund balance or a tax increase, the amount to be determined. The county tax rate for 2010 is 69 cents per $100. Duplin County EMS provides emergency medical treatment and transportation throughout Duplin County. The service operates 8 paramedic ambulances along with the supervisor and administrative staff, with 65 full-time employees and 35 part-time employees. Duplin County EMS covers over 840 square miles, 50,000 residents, and 30 miles of Interstate 40. The service primarily transports to 6 community hospitals and 2 trauma centers. Members of the Duplin County Agribusiness Council got a close-up look Wednesday at metal recycling during a tour of the Grain Purchase and Encore Recycling Center in Wallace. The tour came after a barbecue pork and chicken dinner in the company's main warehouse. The business is located at the former site of the new Duplin Tobacco Warehouse on Northwest Railroad Street. Owners are Paul and Jane Phillips and sons Cole and Kyle. Kyle Phillips conducted the tour, taking people back along a dirt street into the heart of the metal yard full of old farm machinery, cars, trucks, RVs, school buses, and even factory floor window sections. Phillips explained that trucks bring scrap metal into the recycling center are first weighed on a scale. The scrap metal is then unloaded and placed in great piles in the yard to be chopped up into small pieces that can be sold for a profit by the Phillips family. The scrap is bought by the pound. Prices vary. Better quality steel will be bought for a higher price. Low quality metal isn't worth as much. Material handlers with grapples are used to load and unload trucks and move large amounts of scrap. A mobile shear slices up the metal machinery into small pieces that can be sold directly to steel mills. If available, a shear can be attached to a material handler so it can size material when necessary. Phillips said that sometimes the metal is too tough to cut and they must use torches. If they cannot cut up machinery sufficiently to be accepted by a mill, the scrap pieces will have to be sold to a company with the shredder. The cut-up scrap must be weighed again on the scale before leaving the center, Phillips said. For cars and trucks, Phillips will sell doors and other usable parts. Once in a while, Phillips will come across an antique that he will retrieve from the pile, clean up, and seek out a buyer. He said he came across a 1950s Pepsi metal storage container that he figured must be valuable. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break and be back in a few moments. We'll see you then. Welcome back. I'm Ashton from Cape Fear Newspaper's Community News Today. Thanks for tuning in. U.S. Cellular announced today that it's calling All Communities campaign. It will return in September with exciting changes that will spread the impact of its $1 prize. For the third year, the campaign will challenge schools to rally community support for the chance to enhance students' learning opportunities any way they see fit. This year, instead of 10 schools, 18 schools that garner the most community votes will win a share of $1 million. The value of investing in schools extends from local communities to national initiatives. The current administration has made education and expanding access to mobile broadband a priority to bolster U.S. economic competitiveness. The recently unveiled National Broadband Plan would provide high-speed wireless coverage to 98% of Americans and give more students throughout the country fast, convenient access to online learning resources. Since the program began in 2008, U.S. Cellular has awarded $2 million to schools. Calling All Communities champions have used their winnings in a variety of ways to strengthen the learning experiences for thousands of students across the country. Many outfitted their classrooms with new computers, Promethean boards, and other new technology. 2 schools in North Carolina were among the 10 that garnered the most votes in the 2010 campaign. At B.F. Grady, the $100,000 was divided among the teachers to spend, $10,000 per grade level from K to 8th, with $10,000 divided among physical education, art, music, and counselors. The majority of the teachers purchased technology, smartboards, projectors, and computer programs. All purchases were based on the 900 students' assessment data and required the teachers to focus on student achievement. Wayne Country Day School in Goldsboro, North Carolina, used the money to purchase Promethean boards for all 20 classrooms in the school, benefiting more than 250 students daily. Other winners improved outdated infrastructure and renovated gymnasiums, school kitchens, and science labs. A few paid portions of their proceeds forward by giving college scholarships to graduating students and donating 10% to nonprofits around the world. Many of the past champions report that while the money was an educational boon for the schools, the campaign to win stimulated an equally rewarding success of community that has lasted long after confetti from the surprise announcements was swept away. For more information about U.S. Cellular, its cutting-edge phone lineup, high-speed nationwide network, and past Calling All Communities campaigns, visit uscellular.com or facebook.com/uscellular. Check back this summer for details about the 2011 Calling All Communities campaign. Official rules will be available when the program launches in September. The most lethal pest of lawn grasses in our area is also one of the least well-known. Called ground pearl or pearl bugs, these insects can be found damaging lawns throughout southeastern North Carolina. In yards infested with ground pearl, it is often impossible to maintain a healthy lawn since there are no effective treatments for this pest. Managing lawns infested with ground pearl instead relies on redesigning landscape beds to minimize turf areas, choosing turf grasses that better tolerate ground pearl, and encouraging vigorous turf growth. There are no pesticides that kill ground pearl, which are a type of scale insect. Since only turf grasses are affected by ground pearl, one method of dealing with them is to redesign your yard so that trees, shrubs, and flowers are planted in the areas where ground pearl does not exist. Ground pearls are only able to move a few inches on their own each year, so be careful not to spread them around when moving soil or using tools or equipment in infested areas. The movement of soil and contaminated equipment is the main way ground pearls are spread over large areas. If you have questions about ground pearl or other lawn problems, please contact your local extension office or visit the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Turf Files website at www.turffiles.ncsu.edu. In Pender County, please call 910-259-1235 for more information. Topsail Beach officials are considering nearly doubling the town's tax rate to set aside funds for future beach nourishment projects. To raise its part of a $10 million project to widen the beach again in 4 years, about 16.8 cents per $100 of real property would have to be added to the current rate of 18.75 cents to run the town. That would add roughly $70 per month to the taxes on a $500,000 beach home. To move the project back to every 5 years, it would cost $50 per month to raise the funds, according to a consultant who has been studying the issue. Consultant Peter Ravella has been working on the beach issue since March, seeking ideas from town residents and landowners. He has also run a series of workshops to discuss what would be needed, how much it would cost, and how it would be paid for. Ravella's last workshop, held over Memorial Day weekend, was about the timing of nourishment projects and how much of a tax increase residents would accept for savings account for sands. Even if the money appears for the federal 50-year project, the town has been sort of waiting for years. The money saved could be used for its part of the cost. The town will have to save up, starting immediately, to have enough to pay for the inevitable private, town-sponsored nourishment project, Ravella said. Earlier this year, the town completed work on a self-sponsored $10 million beach project that had taken 10 years to realize. Other costs that will have to be taken into account, Ravella said, are maintenance and monitoring annually to qualify as a FEMA beach. The federal program also requires that beaches under its watch be nourished at most every 5 years. Should it qualify, the town gets something of an insurance policy guaranteeing that FEMA would put the beach back to its latest condition in the event of a storm or high tides. There were several ground rules, Ravella said. First, the money would come from ad valorem, or property taxes, because they can be used as a deduction. Second, any tax increase would involve all properties. There would be no municipal service districts, and the maximum cost per property would add a maximum of $75 per month on a $500,000 house. The town board has made no decision on the beach fund. It does plan, however, to adopt its 2011-2012 budget on June 29th. Information about the proposals and a cost calculator are available at the town's website, topsailbeach.org. Hundreds of people filled the American Legion building in Jacksonville on Saturday in an effort to help victims of April's tornado outbreak. Operation B4, as it was called, was the product of planning on a massive scale, as well as goodwill on the part of the Onslow community. Visitors sought refuge in the building from the hot May sun, and inside the smell of pork barbecue was complemented by old-timey gospel and bluegrass music in classic North Carolina fashion. The name of the event comes from the desire to return Onslow to its state before the storms. North Carolina Emergency Management also urges those distressed by the storms to call their crisis counseling services at 1-866-451-7760 all week from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. That's all we have for you today. I'm Ashton Hasty with Cape Fear Newspaper's Community News Today. Please tune into Topics Design TV every weekday at 2 for more of the latest community news. In the meantime, keep up with your community in the Pender Chronicle, Advertiser News, Wallace Enterprise, and Warsaw-Faison News. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here Monday.